second introduction, please welcome Felipe, Quaresma-Rosa.
So, the other night, I was having dinner with my girlfriend at a nice restaurant in downtown. And we were in the second bottle of wine, and she was getting very tipsy already. So she looked me in the eye and said, "Can I ask you a question?" Well, then I got scared. When a girl informs you that she's going to ask you a question, it cannot mean anything good. If it's something good, you just go ahead and ask it. But anyways, for my surprise, she asked me a very interesting question. "What kind of leader do you want to be?" she said. Well, at the time, I didn't know how to answer to this question. It was clear for me, however, that I wanted to reach a leadership position in the future. So I got back home and I started researching about it to better understand my leadership style, convictions, and goals. And I also realized how complex and challenging this process was. So okay, now you might be thinking, oh, that's just another leadership talk. Well, yes, it is. But I ask you to bear with me here, because I strongly believe that you can benefit from what I have to say. Tonight, your perception of leadership will change. I'm a part of a 3-year leadership program here at Grandview called Viking Leadership Credential. And I'm a finance guy. I like to find the exact answers for everything. So I got into this program thinking that I would find a formula on how to be a good leader. But of course, I couldn't find the answer. And that's because human motivations and behaviors are too complex to put into a model that fits any type of situation or any type of person. In addition to that, change is constant as people evolve throughout their careers and accumulate more experiences. However, after great search, I was able to discover a few behaviors and attributes that can expand your leadership potential. And it doesn't matter if you are a student in a classroom, a CEO of a company, or the captain of your sports team. For my surprise, these behaviors and attributes are linked to one term that is the essence of any leadership style. And that's why I'm here tonight. Because I want to share this term with you. And the term is followers. I realized that by developing and understanding our style as a followers and our attitude towards others, we might be able to change, develop, and expand our leadership potential. And, well, no matter what is your professions, passions, or motivations, if you want to become a leader, you first need to become a follower. But to do that effectively, we all need to break a huge bias right away. We often think as followers as a person who did not succeed. Well, this is because our concern with leadership keeps us from considering the nature and the importance of a follower. We are more concerned in getting promotions and instead of developing ourselves into good leaders. And this directly impacts the leadership standards of our organizations. Think about it. There is no way to build a successful organization by having only one of these two types of person. You need followers and you need leaders. So I came back to the question my girlfriend asked me, and instead of trying to answer what kind of leader I wanted to be, I started thinking about what kind of follower I wanted to be. So I searched for what distinguishes an effective from an ineffective follower. And from my research, I realized that effective followers differ in their motivations for following and in their perceptions of the role. And to help me explain that, I'll present you the follower matrix, created by Robert A. Kelly, a Harvard Business School professor. As you can see here, the horizontal line shows your level of engagement, and the vertical line shows your ability to think for yourself. And there are 4 different types of followers. The sheep lack initiative, sense of responsibility, and are also passive. It mostly relates to that student or that athlete who doesn't provide any value to the team. Yes, people are outgoing, but still uncritical and passive. It is that guy who socializes, but doesn't express any opinion and still needs someone telling him what to do all the time. Alienated followers have the ability to think for themselves, but are too passive to act on their ideas. Finally, effective followers are the ones who have the ability to think for themselves, are proactive, and have a sense of responsibility. They are risk takers, self-starters, and have a critical thinking. So our next step, after identifying all these types of followers, is to know what type of follower we are. Where do we stand in this matrix here? So I started recalling some of my own experiences. How many times I just chose not to do my homework because I knew I had a friend who could send it to me? How many times I decided to call my boss with a lame excuse just because I was too lazy to go to work? In every single one of these examples, I was being an alienated follower. I had the ability to think for myself, but I was too passive to act on it. But on the other hand, I can also remember when I was taking the bus an hour and a half just to arrive at my internship, which showed proactivity, commitment, and sense of responsibility. I can also remember when I decided to stay after practice just to have some extra reps, which I knew could have made me a better player. All of us present here today are in the same reality. We might be seeking different goals, have a different perspective of life, different culture, different religion, different political preferences. But here and now, we are all followers, in one way or the other. And it is by understanding how effective we can be as a follower and falling in love with the process of becoming one that we can start thinking about becoming effective leaders. Okay, so now we understand that this is what it takes to be an effective follower. However, in a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the author Stephen Covey says that we need to start with an end in mind. So I searched for what distinguishes, what are the characteristics of most effective leaders. And that's when it blew my mind for the second time. When comparing both lists, I realized that the characteristics of the most effective followers are pretty much the same characteristics of the most effective leaders. Of course, that as a leader, you need to develop some other characteristics as well, such as being coaching-oriented and a visionary. But what this list tells us is that we need to develop the characteristics, skills, behaviors, and attributes of an effective follower in order to build a strong foundation of an effective leader. We are often taught to seek promotions, higher salaries, and bigger offices throughout our careers. However, this does not make you a good leader. Let me explain why. Look at this picture. By following the norm, we will end up being bosses who values power over mutual success. Instead, leaders inspire followers to do more and to become more. Finally, based on all these findings, I was able to shape the vision of the follower I want to be. I want to be the person who makes the difference. I want to be proactive and committed when seeking solutions for my team and my organization. And I know this is important. This is important because there is no way that one creates more responsible and reaches more responsible leadership positions without showing an ability to follow and functioning effectively in a group. So I hope today you understood the reason of why seeking to be a good leader is not the right way. Your abilities as a follower will determine what kind of leader you will be in the future. The way you act towards your daily activities and the way you pursue your goals can tell a lot about who you are as a follower. And with this in mind, I urge you not to look for the answer of what kind of leader do you want to be. The real question to be answered is, what kind of follower do you want to be? Thank you.